Hi, my name is Corey Eastup. I'm Chief Engineer, photographer at Rusty Tug and Barge Company.
Hi, my name is Daniel Eddy. I'm engineer and mechanic on the engineer and mechanic team.
Alright, so we're part of the Arctic Research and Rescue Division, designation team LED. So basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to open up a department for Arctic search and rescue, for sailors and for anyone else in our area that might need the help. So let's get started. Our purpose is to provide quick support and transport to all vessels and people within our operating area, if it be on land or sea, and to open up an industry for private search and rescue operations. Now that last part's pretty important. No one has really opened up a private sector for search and rescue. It's usually always been a government kind of thing. It's always been the Coast Guard, or it's always been someone else's Coast Guard or Navy that has always gone and found these ships that have gone missing. Another big thing is land and sea. We didn't want to just focus on the sea aspect because we're based right out of Alaska. People go missing everywhere in Alaska. It just happens. So we want to open it up to everyone so that they can all get help if
We also want to be there to just support the Coast Guard when they need us. They know all the support they can get in that area with all the issues that they got going on. So if we can be there to help support them and they can give us a call if they need something, it just make everything so much faster, and we possibly could save more lives at the same time, which is the ultimate goal here with search and rescue.
Yeah.
So our base of operations, we teamed up with Two Oceans and DBO, and we actually came up with a nice piece of land right west of Anchorage and north of Homer. Perfect area for us to house all three of our companies, and all of us work towards a greater goal through Rusty Barge Towing Company. We have enough space there to house all of our search and rescue equipment, have our dock where we can keep our ships. We got everything that we need in that one area, and it's absolutely perfect. And along with being with the rest of the company, it's just a great opportunity to be right there.
Right there. All right.
So I covered ships for our company, and it's a vital piece to what we need when we're out in the ocean. If we're going to do search and rescue, we need vessels that are going to operate for us, do the things that need to be done, and get it done in a timely fashion. Also keeping all of our employees safe, and then also having a safe place to bring these people that we're rescuing back on board and have hospital services for them and treat them the way that they need to be treated in order to save their lives.
Now, to start off with the ship types thing, we've also talked to Team DBO, who has more than generously come to us and given us a fair rate on constructing ships to our specifications. Now, we did tinker around a little bit and research what we thought would be the best move. So we'll wait, and then we'll let you decide, and then we'll tell you what we think the best move was.
So the main ship, what do you guys think we would need on a main ship? All right. Well, when it boils down to it, we need something that's big enough to house a good amount of people that we can follow through with. We're going to need captains. We're going to need mates. We're going to need engineers. We're going to need, we're going to need cooks. We're going to need doctors. Doctors is one of the most important, along with the other people getting everything moving. But we need doctors on board and nurses that can handle patients as we pull them out of the water, pull them off their ship that's going down, whatever's going on, so we can, save their lives if it comes down to that matter, or at least give them a warm place, a nice blanket after they've been in that freezing cold water for a long time. And also, we're hoping that, our big ships can support the Coast Guard cutters and other Coast Guard people that are going to be out there. If they pull someone on board and they don't have the time to sit around and try to, help these people out, we can pull right up and we can move the victims from one side to the other, and we can take them and we can do the stuff for them while they go search for more people, along with our employees. What we came to the conclusion of is that we need something big. So we came to a 500-foot ship that can be the headquarters of our operation. We're going to have all our IT stuff on there, all the communication, the whole 9 yards, helicopter pad. We need everything. So the ship is going to be absolutely fitted with everything that we would ever need in certain situations, just in case that situation were to arise. Like I said, we're going to have some sort of a hospital type area where we can bring these people on board. If they need to be treated, they can be treated in a timely fashion, and then we can have them go to another area, which will be like kind of a birthing area that we can put these people and have them lay down and relax from whatever's going on while we either head back to port or head out to assist somebody else or whatever the situation is. This ship is going to be the headquarters of everything, so all communication and stuff like that, where we're going to employ a lot of people, hopefully, with this ship, and we're going to need multiple people there to follow through with all the jobs that the ship needs to do. As I said before, doctors, captains, engineers, mates, assistant engineers. Then we're gonna need the cooks and stuff. We're also gonna need people that can work the helo pad. We're gonna need multiple people, and we're gonna create a lot of jobs through this one ship right here that is a vital piece to our company.
One more important feature of our ship is we started out as a towing company, so we should always remember just that. We are a towing company. So this ship is also going to have towing capabilities so that we are able to keep the name of Rusty Tug and Barge Towing. So just a nice little feature that we really wanted to throw in.
Our second rescue ships. Really love the idea of the Coast Guard ships that are semi-submersible, where if they hit a wave and they end up going over, these ships will tilt back over and keep going. So this is very, very important. Also, some sort of a headquarters ship. You know, if we got our 500-foot ship, we're not going to fit into some spots that we need to get into in case there's people in there struggling or whatever's going on. So we need something smaller that we can put people on and get into a smaller area and still do it in a safe manner without harming our employees. So this ship is about 30 to 40-foot ship that can take a roll and come back over, and it's built that way, and it's absolutely perfect for what we needed to do. Small enough that we can get into these areas that would not be able to get into with a 500-foot ship. So we came to the conclusion that we're gonna stick with this smaller ship.
Yeah. These ships are easily attainable through the U.S. Coast Guard because they're just recently starting to retire most of these ships with nothing wrong with them. They just found something else that's working better for them. Being the U.S. government, they have an almost unlimited budget. Us being an actual company, we need to be able to budget ourselves and purchase these vessels for a great rate, which is what we can do through this program that the U.S. government is doing. So, next.
Rib boats. This is the third vessel that we're going to need. These are going to be on our larger ship. What do you guys think would be very important? Why would we need rib boats? So we need rib boats for these smaller applications if we need to get into a real small area. And also, a rib boat makes it 20 times easier if you can't get a helicopter to somebody. You're a lot closer to the water with these rib boats that you can get people up over the side without very little struggle or anything like that. If the person is severely injured, you have to take more precautions, which we'll get to later. But with the rib boat, we can get to these people that are in a small area and be able to get in there if the helicopter can't and rescue these people and save lives. And this is a very vital vessel to our group, and they all are. And it's very important that we have the ships that we need to do water rescues, and also helicopters, which will be touched on later. They're also very important to this our search and rescue program here at Rusty Barge. The only thing I didn't mention before was that the only ship that's going to have a helicopter pad is a larger ship, but at the same time, that ship will also have the hospital services that these other smaller vessels obviously will not. So it's very good that we can have a helicopter pad on that ship. If we pick somebody up and the helicopter needs to go get more people, they can drop these people off on that ship and go out and possibly save more lives and hopefully help more people. And that's the ultimate goal with this detachment of the company, is to save lives and help people in an area where it's very, very important because of the weather and the seas in that area.
Next. So my primary section was to research helicopters and their functionality, what that would be to be a search and rescue mission aircraft. So what I found is I stuck to one company after much consideration from others. I looked at Bell, and I looked at Airbus, and I even looked at another company which didn't work out too well because mostly they worked on civilian aircraft. So what it came down to is I researched 3 reliable helicopters that were each a different role or a different class that you would call it being light, medium, and heavy. Now, all of these aircraft are rated for maritime usage, so they were a great pick for this company. And the company that I chose was Airbus Eurocopter. They make aircraft for the U.S. military, for the U.S. Coast Guard, and for civilian usage. So they're a great company and they're very reliable. So starting out, the first helicopter is the Airbus H135 light helicopter. It's a short-range, fast speed and response helicopter that has capabilities to land on slopes and untraditional areas, such as rocky areas, snow-covered areas, sand-covered areas, whatever. It can do it. It's a very, very reliable helicopter. Now, it can run up to 2 pilots, but it's most of the time unnecessary. It's a 1-pilot aircraft most of the time and can hold up to 4 passengers. But the greatest thing about Airbus helicopters is that these are not just a single configuration aircraft. You can take the inside and you can turn it into anything you want. You can make it a luxury aircraft, a support helicopter, or a passenger helicopter. So all these helicopters that were chosen have emergency services equipment that can be put inside them. So they're a great choice. This helicopter in particular is a estimated price of $6 million USD dollars. You know, it's actually a very good price for a helicopter that's brand new and would be very reliable for our company. So next, Airbus AS365 medium. This is probably one of the most well-known helicopters in the world right now. This is used by Coast Guards all over the world, navies all over the world, and it's actually very sought after by big major companies just for luxury. So, a couple quick facts about it. It's a long-range helicopter with quick speed, low maintenance costs, and great reliability. Can run up to 2 pilots and 12 passengers with a standard setup. EMS operations can hold up to 2 stretchers for victims of any unfortunate circumstances. Used very heavily in ocean rescue operations by the Coast Guard, and it's also greatly used in passenger operations for oil rigs. So it's a great helicopter for the price that you're paying, which would be $10 million. Again, it's a helicopter, so it's going to be a lot. Last one, Airbus H225 Heavy. This is another well-known helicopter, mostly because we've all seen it in those military movies as that big helicopter with all the guns on it. It's part of the Super Puma family, so yeah, it's going to be very nice in pop culture. But anyway, it's an extreme range helicopter with great speed. So this helicopter actually has a total range of 1,100 kilometers, which is amazing for the size of this aircraft. So the nicest thing about this one too is that it actually has a heavy lift towing cable where it has been tested to actually lift itself. It has been tested to lift another heavy helicopter. So it's a great addition for what we want to do with it. So this helicopter needs 2 pilots minimum, so it's not one of those ones that can be piloted by 1 helicopter pilot. Another thing is it can carry up to 20 passengers with 4 victims on stretchers and EMS equipment. That is a lot of space inside a helicopter. So this one is also used by Coast Guards around the world and by private companies transporting people to and from oil rigs. So This would be great for our search and rescue operations and for our passenger operations. Estimated at 18 million United States.
This helicopter would also be very beneficial in the fact that we can transport, if the headquarters ship needs to stay out at sea in a search and rescue operation, and that needs to be the headquarters at sea, we can use one of our smaller aircraft to keep doing the search and rescue, but we can transport people back to land with this helicopter, and that is a very vital piece of equipment that we need to transport these people in a safe manner back to a land-based hospital in order to save lives or help these people out, so we're not looking at severe damages to them.
Next. Joining us will be Logan Fogg, head of the Safety and Survival Gear Research.
So I'm Logan Fogg. I'm Chief of Fabrication here at Rusty Barge Towing Company, and I'm going to cover safety and survival gear. So on top of EPIRBs and SARTs, in order to save individuals on our vessel from an emergency situation, if we're responding to a distress call of another vessel, what are the two most important factors or pieces of equipment that we'll need, say that we have to abandon ship? If you said life rafts and lifeboats, you are correct. So on our headquarters ship, we'll have a total of 8 life rafts. They'll be canopied, and they'll include food and water to supply it for 2 weeks. Hopefully we don't need that much, but just in case. It has the protective shell, just in case we're bumping and getting high winds, high seas. And it deploys instantly once the ship goes down. The lifeboats, we'll have 2 lifeboats, one port, one starboard. They'll be closed, so they have a shell on the top, and there'll be seat belts as well. These will also include food and water that lasts up to 2 weeks.
One other thing in the lifeboats that was an addition on my part is we were searching for engines that can not only be started electrically, but would be started by a crank start. Because I've served on ships before where we've been testing our lifeboats and all of a sudden the battery wasn't connected, so there's no charge. Well, a couple particular lifeboats were able to have a crank start where all you do is you just crank it up to a certain point, and then it will tell you that you have enough crank on it, and you push a button, it rotates the engine and start the engine by compression. So it's a great addition, and it'll really actually help us in case the battery, wasn't connected for some reason somewhere.
So another thing on board our vessel that we'll need are immersion suits. So if our vessel's going down, you're not just going to want to jump in the water and have no way of survival. You're going to want to throw one of these suits on. They keep you afloat. The waters outside of Alaska are very cold, so these will keep you warm. They're insulated. Not for a long time, but for enough time to climb into a life raft or a lifeboat. They'll protect you from cuts and abrasions. There's a little layer in between. They'll keep you dry, and the biggest thing is they'll protect you from hypothermia. And so we move on to hypothermia. This is one of the biggest issues that we have in Alaska in the seas. And so hypothermia is when your body loses body heat faster than it can produce body heat. And so ways to fix this is, for one, get out of the water. Apply heating pads, not too hot, warm clothing, thermal blankets as stated here, so they slowly heat your inner core. So if you end up with hypothermia, it'll just warm you up slowly so you won't get sick and you won't go into shock. And lastly, the number one treatment is warm liquids. So if you drink warm liquids, they go into your core and heat you from the inside out. That way you don't go into shock. And lastly, so on board our vessel, we're going to have a hospital-like setting as mentioned earlier. So this is going to be relatively like an emergency unit or an emergency room. It'll have all the basic needs, so it'll have medications, surgical utensils, bandages, wraps, IV necessities. Just in case we encounter something that we aren't ready for, we have our helicopters to ship them to the nearest hospital in Anchorage.
All right, so this pretty much concludes our presentation on search and rescue in the Arctic theater for Rusty Tug and Barge Towing Company. A couple things to keep in mind is that when we're out there, especially in this area, we're all we have. We can call the Coast Guard and they'll get there for us, but having more people out there is all the difference for everyone in this area. You have fishing boats, cargo boats, oil tankers, oil rigs, everything out there, and everything can go wrong in this area. So we really believe that this would be great for everyone in this area as far as keeping them safe and make sure everyone goes home at night. So, anything else?
No, thank you for watching, and for any questions, you may ask us in class.
Thank you.